I have little baby Beeps here. He was born with water in the brain, hydrocephalic. Beepies. Come here, baby. Baby Beeps. See how he is? He can't really run around a room. He has to, he can hit his head very easily. See, it just depends on your situation. But he does spin, and it's not painful. And the reason he spins is because he was born with the water in the brain, and he had the operation. But before he could get the operation, I had to go through a CAT scan and seeing the neurologist twice and going back and forth to Gainesville, getting appointments there. It was an ordeal for me. I mean, for him, way more, because he was in pain the whole time because he had swelling in the brain, headaches, really bad pain. But anyhow, I got the surgery, so now he has this tube. You can feel it if you touch him. You can feel the tube going from his head down his back that drains the fluid out of the brain. So he doesn't have any pain, but he does have permanent neurological problems where he spins. And when you're holding him, he'll all of a sudden like want to fly out of your arms. He's like neurotic. So it's an issue. It makes it hard to handle him. Now, I did about 20 videos of him showing his entire journey, and I can share them with you if you would like to see them. I took them offline and put them on as private because it was messy. It was destroying my business. I thought it was the economy, because the economy is horrible, but it's not. I just know it's those videos because people think that my puppies are all hydrocephalic. They go on YouTube and, if they don't see all of the videos and they don't see the whole journey from start to finish, then they are going to assume that my puppies are hydrocephalic, and that's not the case. This is the second time in, since 1992 I've been breeding. So, and then in 1992 when I started breeding, it was not that, 10 years afterwards. Come here, baby Beeps. It was like 10 years afterwards. Beepies, come here, baby, come on. When he gets excited, he really goes fast. But anyhow, it was like 10 years after, and I had the first time, and I was advised to put him down, and I did, because I just listened to the vet, and then I felt bad about it for years, and then it happened again, like a whole 20 years later, when I bought a male from an outside line. So this male from the outside line is probably what gave me the hydrocephalic gene here. And then I thought, well, it's gotta be recessive. But then the mother, I had her lines for like 2 decades, at least, on both sides, and no problems. So I was torn about what to do, because I really didn't want to spay her. So I went to Dr. Lee McBride in Leesburg. And she specializes only in breeding and genetics. And I had a consultation with her about it. And she told me to neuter the male. She said, if you got that male from an outside source and your female hasn't had anything for decades, she said that it comes from that male. So, because she said you only need it on one side. It's kind of like muscular dystrophy. You can get it, you can carry it on one side. So it's some kind of like a recessive dominant gene. And I'm surprised at Embark, because I do the Embark testing, and it tests for like 240 different things. And it's kind of disappointing that that's not one of them. You would think that would be something they would test for, but it's not, because it's a serious problem here. You don't want to breed this. You don't know they're like this until they're like 12 weeks old, and you're already in love with them. If you're a decent person and a good breeder, you're already in love with them, and then you got to make the decision to put the little thing down or spend like $8,000 to fix the problem with future medical. Because he needs his medication for the rest of his life. So, it's just, but I was fortunate that the insurance did cover it, but I had to pay in advance and take that chance because I was assuming they would deny it. But I guess the CAT scan showed that whatever it showed, that they had to be responsible, because I'm sure they looked it over with a fine-tooth comb, and they did cover it. But the whole time that I was doing this, I was assuming I had to pay for it. So the reason I took down all the videos of him is because, you know, the people would see that, and my business was suffering, you know, so I had to take it down. It's just the way it is. People just want to assume what they want to assume. They don't want to say, oh, okay, this woman did the responsible thing, and she took care of what she, you know, her breeding did, you know. So that should show you that perhaps, you know, I'm a good breeder, a real good breeder, because I did this. I saved this little guy when I could have easily just said, put him down. Oh, and sometimes, see what I mean? He's very hard to handle. And sometimes, you know, I even think back and it's like, you know, maybe I should have just put him down. That's how bad it is. Because he's difficult. Cutting nails, I have to do like a foot each day, and I can't do the whole foot. It's like 3 or 4 nails. That's all I can get. He had to have blood work done, and we couldn't even get the blood. I was in the room trying to help hold him. There was 3 of us. We couldn't get blood. They had to try to get it out of his neck, and they were like pointing at him with this needle. And I was just like, I was freaking out because I know how he gets, and he could all of a sudden just fly into the needle and stab his neck. It's just really creepy. And they said, you need to take him to Gainesville, which is, you know, like quite a distance for me. It's not close. I'm a very busy woman. I gotta take him to Gainesville and see a neurologist. Granted, I only have to pay 10% because of his insurance paying for everything now, after I pay the deductible. But still, you know, it takes half my day to go do it. And it's just, he's a handful. But then I sit there at night and I hold him, and he kisses me. All of a sudden he'll just fly in my face and just start licking my face. And I'm just like, okay, I'm glad I did it. I love you. I really do love him. He's very affectionate. So the person who gets him, and maybe nobody will ever get him, and I gotta keep him. But what I have in my living room, this is my puppy room. This is a small one, okay? It's a human playpen. I got a double one in my living room because he needs the area to spin. So you have to have an area, and it needs to be in like a living room so that he's not all isolated. He can't be around other dogs. They could be on the outside sniffing him. He loves that, actually. But when you're going to hold him, you can't have another dog coming over there and causing him to fly out of your arms. So there's a lot, you know, there's a lot. Baby beeps, come here, beepies. See how cute he is. But yeah, and now you got to be able to take him places because he gets bored in his playpen. So you got to put him inside of a backpack or carrier, and you got to take him places. Beepies. Oh gosh, he's gonna start going crazy. Come here, sweetheart. Come here. Come here. And you have to be dedicated to twice a day giving him his medication. And this is how I do it. He's got these herbs. It's actually one medication and then these herbs that come from a herbal pharmacy. But I put them in here, and I use kefir, the yogurt called kefir, plain unsweetened, because it has fat in it for absorption, and it's a little thick and not too liquidy because I don't want to cause him to aspirate. So I mix it up in here I put 1 thing, 3 cc's of the liquid, and I put it in there, and then I mix his herbs, and then I slowly give it to him. And then he has 1 other medication, and he actually is on 2, but I'm weaning him off the Prozac. He was on Prozac, but now that he's getting a little bit out of the puppy stage, I want him off that Prozac, and we'll see if he acts the same. because it kind of calmed him down. But then I got this other stuff called Calm the Elf Down, which is an herb, and I believe that might be enough. So it's just getting him off the Prozac. So he's just on one other Progamulin, and he's got to be on that for the rest of his life because that makes sure that he doesn't have any nerve pain. So anyhow, the person who gets him will have to pay his insurance, which is about $400 a year. And it's $10,000 worth of coverage, and then you pay your deductible of $300, and then you just pay 10%. So that is definitely what you got to pay in order, because you got to keep his insurance. Because if this shunt breaks, he needs another one, and it will cover it. And if you don't have the insurance, you're either gonna have to put him down or spend. I don't know if you'll need probably need another CAT scan. Maybe not, because it's already been diagnosed. I don't know how that works, but I know that the surgery itself was like $5,000. So, and the doctor did say that as he grows, he could outgrow it and it could have to be moved. So that's another surgery that could happen. He needs his insurance. Thank God he has it, because he's gonna be able to have the best care. But anyhow, that's my little thing about him. And I did have to make it a real long video because I needed to explain to people that, and I also need to explain the fact that hydrocephalic puppies in Chihuahuas is kind of common. I mean, it's common enough. And what isn't common is for the breeder to fix it, okay? To help the puppy. That's what isn't common. Look how cute he is. That's the part that they just don't do. And I wanted to have these videos online so that I could, show people that there is something that can be done. But I can't. I had to take them and put them all as private because it's messing up my business too much. I kept thinking, no, that's not the case. And it is the case. That's what's going on. It's not the economy, because the economy's been bad for a few years now. And my business was fine. It was putting his videos up. So, look at him. You gonna play with your toy? Uh-huh. Oh, yes, sweetheart. I just love him. He is really special. So anyhow, it's common enough, and they just put the puppies down, and they just keep breeding the same dogs together because they don't care. Oh, don't hit your head on there. It's like, I'll just make money off the other puppies. It's pretty sick, actually, how somebody could put down a puppy who's 12 weeks old that you've raised and you love. I guess they don't love them. I know I did it once, and it hurt. I mean, it really hurt. I wasn't in as good of a position to fix the problem back then as I was this time. So that has a lot to do with it too. Sometimes people just can't help the puppies. And it's not just a fact that they're a sick person. They don't care. They can't. So that, plays into it. But it's common enough. Let me just tell you. So don't think that you're going to be free of having any problems with a puppy that you buy just because you go elsewhere, because that's definitely not the case. The way to tell if your puppy is hydrocephalic is to look at their face. They have a certain look, okay? You see his face? He's beautiful. Whoops. But he does have wide eyes, and his head is very wide domed. He's not wanting me to hold him up. And he did have like a bubble on the top of his head because it was full of fluid before he had the surgery. And he was very subdued. He would just, like, the other puppies would be running around, and he would go to the corner by himself because he was in pain. So that's, it was really upsetting to me to have to sit there and wait to have the surgery because they had to do these tests, and that's just how they operate with the specialty places. I was actually lucky to get them in as quick as I could, because I know I've been to specialty places before and it took longer. So they did kind of get them in quickly, but still, it was a long time, and that's how he got the damage to the brain. If they would have done it quicker, he wouldn't be spinning like he is. But anyhow, this video is long enough, and if you're interested in him, you do have to prove to me that you are the right type of person for him, and that you have an experience with helping dogs in the past, and that you went above and beyond, and that would be provable by vet records. If you had a dog that lived to be 20, for instance, that's pretty good proof to me, because dogs normally don't live to be 20 unless they're really well taken care of. Okay, I'm gonna go.